Nice to see you, nice to be here. And first of all, I would like to hear from you in short words, what is cluster, if you would start?
Well, if I talk about the Swedish cluster that I represent, it's a cluster of about 120 members. And we have members from the whole value chain within the furniture and interior industry. And a cluster is separate companies clustered together, working together in different questions or topics or challenges in order to become stronger together. But the cluster consists of all these members.
All right. And what's your take, Kristina?
Okay, well, thank you, Rokas, for this question. The question is very important, and I'm going to tell you why. I'm also Vice President for the European Clusters Alliance, and I was elected as European Cluster Manager of the Year in 2022. So it is my job to describe what cluster is. Basically, in many contents, people confuse us with associations, different other types of organizations. Cluster is the ecosystem based on different types of organizations. So it could be companies, businesses, could be NGOs, could be universities, research centers, could be startups. And they gather on very particular purpose, to create extra value. What it means? It means that you are working together in order to have more value, to create new types of the products, to create innovation, to have more impact than comparing to working alone. So this is the biggest, probably distinguishing factor from the associations, why they gather together. And AgriFood Lithuania is the cluster with the 90 members and working in the agri-food sector through the whole food value chain. And for the probably last couple of years, we've been working very intensively through the cross-sectorial approach also. So this is, again, very important. Clusters becoming more scalable. And it's not only, again, about the one sector. Now it's interconnecting.
Okay. So you mentioned that it's somehow different from professional organizations or NGOs, but what are the main indicators that make it different? Like, why cluster? Why it's not enough to have what you have already? Why you need to establish new ones?
Okay, I can describe. Then Ulrika, you can help me also, agree or disagree. But cluster, when building the ecosystem, right, having its members also carries certain services as a cluster. And one of the probably most distinguishing services, I would say, that is helping their members in different types of the tasks, like test before invest, helping to find extra funding, helping with different various challenges in everyday job, because in the networking, in skilling, upskilling, because the clusters administration, they're the closest to the businesses, they're closest to the stakeholders. What it means, they can right away put into the market the needs of their members and say, okay, we have those technologies, we have those innovations, or we need this, we need that. And then we can interconnect with different types of organizations, for example, as with the digital innovation hubs, or now European digital innovation hubs, and bring extra value. Again, when I talk about the extra value or creating the extra value, what it means that we collaborate. I give example from us, from farmer to the end user. So, for instance, farmer wants to implement certain technologies where they don't know where to start. So we as a cluster help them pick startups which I need to test their technologies, for example, on the field. And we connect them together. And not only that, we help them find funding to do that, in order to do that. So none of the associations do that.
No. Yeah, I can only add to what Kristina just said. This is also something that we see as a big advantage for our cluster, that we can help the companies meet academia or policymakers and get action right away, instead of waiting for someone to try to affect policy decisions. We are on the market, we know the businesses, we know exactly the needs of the companies. And also, as Kristina said, we are also able to join projects together with the companies and help them in a way that they would never be able to do on their own. So this is very, very important. And we are, in a way, one voice, but for many companies. And of course, as also Kristina said, we have members from the academia, we have members we have startups or designers, but the main members for us is the value chain within the furniture industry. So I think we're more fast-footed, as we say in Swedish at least, that we can move much faster than the associations may be able to.
Because you have this direct relation to the industry that needs solution,
yes.
Yeah?
Yes.
Who joins and why? Who are the typical members of well-functioning cluster?
Well, I would say small, medium-sized companies that feel that they cannot deal with all the issues on their own, that they want to collaborate, they get more knowledge, networking, and also more visibility through being a member of the cluster. And also, as we talked about, having the opportunity to join projects in a way that they might never be able to. So I think that, and at least in Sweden, we see that more and more companies are interested in networking, coming together, being a union, not being on your own, because there are so many challenges today that you need to feel that you're in a group of people wanting to do the same thing.
All right. What's your take, Kristina? Who and why do we join?
I always say that everything is about the people. So I purely agree. Very strong motivation for joining cluster. First of all, it's networking and ecosystem.
In Sweden, is it common for the company to be a member of several clusters, or does clusters somehow intertwine?
Our members are really focused in our business and sector, so it may be that they are part of a IT cluster or something that goes like cross-sector wise, probably. But I think that because all companies are also very busy with a daily business, so it may be that they don't have time to be part of so many different clusters or organizations, I'd say. And as Kristina said, I think that's one of the really important things with the cluster, that you kind of get someone else to drive the questions for you, because you have your daily business, you have your sales, you have your everything you have to deal with. So to have someone else trying to drive and force what's next, what's coming up, what can we do together, I think that's one of the biggest advantages with the cluster that we also see today. And as you also said, Kristina, bigger companies are also coming now, because maybe they thought they were big enough on their own earlier, but now we see that they also want to participate, and they see that we are part of the European Union and projects and driving very difficult and important questions for the whole industry.
Kristina, what can a cluster do that individual organization, even very strong one, simply cannot do alone?
Like, for example, that if we are working with AI models for the predictions of the production. Also, we have the company, large corporation, joining for one of the projects, working together, providing data in order to have a specific AI model which predicts for them the future need for the certain products. So they can plan their production. Right now, so they're trying to lower their food waste. So it could be certain different types. For them alone, it would be a huge investment to hire some software company, to hire developers, to have the people who really understand how to develop those models, for example. And now they can join the initiative. So it's basically they get the chance to test before investing and to see whether it fits their business, their operations, their processes. And I think that's a huge value.
One example from the furniture industry, also projects that we have been working with, this eco design for sustainable products regulation that is coming now from EU. One part of this is the digital product passport that will have to, each and every furniture will have to have a digital product passport. So if you send a chair out in the world, it has to have a passport. So you can trace everything, the material, where it's produced, when, everything should be told by this product passport. We have been carrying out several projects now with some of our members within the cluster. They have had possibilities to make prototypes with one product. Few companies, but this will help the whole industry when it really gets started, because it will get started in 2028. We can help each other and use some of the companies as like prototypes and open up the knowledge for everyone in the industry.
And is it so that smaller companies are those who are willing to test the prototypes, and when it goes to the scale?
Actually, both. We have had both big companies and also smaller ones will have the same challenges in different ways. So this is a good example where we have been able to really help them hands-on. Mm.
And I wonder, for the cluster itself, is there a goal to grow, or is it okay to reach a certain number that it's functionable and?
It's important that we have the same goal, with the members that join us have the same goal, and as we work with academia, we work with Linnaeus University, for example, and they have also been very involved in this digital product passport projects that we kind of gather around the same challenges. I think that's important, but we would happily grow, of course. There are more companies in Sweden that we would like to welcome. So I think that you can be stronger if you're more, but it's not necessary to be extremely big. I don't know what you say, Kristina.
Really, it's based on the strategy, what you would like to do with your cluster. And in some way, it's based on the cluster sustainability. So what is the business model, how it operates? This is very important also, because there are clusters that have members fees, there are clusters with no members fees, they operate on different initiatives. I've seen members which are operating for 30 years, for example, in EU, and they have 5,000 members. And then there are clusters with the 10 member. So it's still a cluster. It really depends what kind of strategy they have for that. And since there is no definition, it depends what you're doing. And it's a very good remark from you, Ulrika, that you really need to work with your members. So it's not about the size, it's the quality or value that you bring to the members. And I would like to add one, as European Commission sees clusters as one of the key elements or key factors for the implementing next, for example, period of different strategies. So I'm also working at the clusters expert group at European Commission. And what we work on, it's what kind of role cluster can play. So it's actually different types of the roles, and one of the roles is creating new value chains. So again, what is the strategy? What are you doing with the cluster?
Clusters are sometimes described as the engine of regional economic transformation. Is this realistic or overstatement?
Connection between the cluster and the regions and the regional politicians is very strong, and we really help each other in this development, and that is also one of the main focuses for the cluster to create work possibilities and growth in these regions, thanks to our furniture industry.
What are the day-to-day operations that direct interaction with the companies? How does it work?
The organization behind Interior Cluster Sweden is quite small. It's basically one person employed. That is the CEO, Anna Rosenqvist. She's not here, but and the rest of us, we are working as project leaders. So it's a small organization, but thanks to the projects, we can be more people involved. So, but we don't have the time maybe to be in contact with each member every day, but we try through spreading knowledge, to inviting to conferences, to projects, as I said, as much as possible, and also to make them interconnect between each other, because that, as Kristina said, the networking within the cluster is also very important throughout the value chain, from the sub-supplier to the producer. How can they collaborate in a better way? So it's also a platform. We try to create a platform for them to also work together. But we try, of course, in the way we can to keep close contact. But as we said, some are also more interested in knowing more and asking more and joining us for our events and different activities.
Project Forest 4.0. It's a Horizon project, and AgriFood Lithuania is one of the project partners. So the goal is to create basically a cluster, like forestry cluster, one of the KPIs. So from your perspective, what are the first steps? How it should be established?
Networking. First of all, at this cluster, at this point, I would say all the partners should be interested, unless they say, okay, I don't want to join. But if we are speaking that we are creating an excellence center based on the certain technologies, that we are providing something unique. So first of all, partners are joining and then bringing in other interested stakeholders or partners. In this case, for this cluster, we can have also basically anyone who sees the extra value. So it means universities, research institutions, companies working with forestry, companies providing technologies, working with the digitalization, working with different types of the innovative products. Carbon farming is also very close to that. So certain platforms connecting together carbon farming and forestry. So everyone can join as long as we see the value. And I think these first steps start from networking and expressing the interest that we would like to invite. We are creating the new cluster.
Interior Cluster Sweden. So is it more oriented in production, or there's also some sort of sustainability approaches, like companies looking for various ways to implement the strategy?
Yes, it's definitely sustainability. It's a broad, a wide range of questions that they deal with. It could be production, but sustainability, as I said before, digitalization, new business models, circular business models. It's an industry producing furniture. And now we're not supposed to produce that much.
Yeah.
So how can we still keep our business running? We need to find new business models. Can someone buy this? Can we rent it, or lease the furniture? Or how do we we still need to get paid for what we've done, but maybe we can sell 1 chair instead of 10. So this is really a challenge and also this is also a challenge to how to get maybe the end customer or the customers, the ones who buy the furniture, to understand the value of the material, the product itself, because we are competing with low price countries and people buy cheap things, furniture. So there's a lot of challenges. So I would say we deal with a lot of questions together with the members. And we're so happy also to have the universities working with us in the cluster, because as we said before, research is also really important, but it's also important that it doesn't stay with the researchers, but that it really comes to the industry, to someone to get use of all the information that there actually is, or research.
Catalyst. You take the academia world, the research, and then connecting to business and trying to expand in the better future.
Yeah, you could say.
All right. Kristina, let's get back to Forest 4.0. It's interesting to ask you, in your view, what makes forestry a particularly promising sector for this kind of cluster initiative right now?
For the forestry, it's a huge potential, I would say. There is no doubt about that. And we deal with the different types of the goals again. So on one side, we are talking about new business models. On the other side, we are talking about Green Deal goals, even though some of them are being postponed. But again, we are talking about lowering the emissions, net zero. So forestry plays one of the biggest parts in that.
Right. What about startups? You mentioned that they are usually also part of the clusters, but is it common in Sweden, for example, interior cluster of Sweden?
It's not that common, I would say. Up till now, it's more established companies that join, but we do collaborate with startups, and we do create events where we invite startups, and they are interested in talking to us, of course. But as a member, up till now, I wouldn't say it's that many startups actually.
Okay, so it's a point of just connected, but like as a guest to certain.
You could say that, and that we also try to create platforms for startups. We have done several projects aiming for that, because the startups are also really important for the existing companies, because they drive innovation and new ideas. So it's really important to support them as well.
Okay, very interesting. And how those platforms work that you mentioned for startups in short term?
A platform could be an activity where we invite startups to meet. Yes, we were talking about matchmaking, for example, or to present themselves, and to maybe to get a mentor, or to have someone who wants to invest in what they're doing. But as I understand, many of the startups are really interested in just having a mentor, to join a network and meet people that have more experience. But as I said, they also give to the established companies a lot. So, but up till now, it has been more matchmaking activities or events where we have tried to gather startups meeting established companies.
How does different clusters, even internationally, interact with each other? Are there any synergies, or it's more like a competition?
No, I would say that's of course synergies. As far as what I've seen, clusters collaborate very closely, and again, it's based on many different types of the projects and initiatives.
Different clusters have different common issues, so you can find different collaborations depending on what kind of question you're dealing with. So.
And you mentioned that in interviewing cluster of Sweden, there's only one employee.
But there's one employee, and she's responsible for the cluster and towards the board and everything. But thanks to her hard work with applying for projects, she's able to then take on or bring on consultants or project leaders. That makes us a team, which is very important because it's not possible for one person to deal with all the questions. But thanks to these the projects that we are involved in, we can cover a lot of questions and make more good things for our members.
Yeah.
We are also collaborating with some clusters in other countries with a big administration and many employees, so it varies a lot. But our cluster is working like this.
Mm-hmm. So, Kristina, how would it work? For example, establishing a new cluster. You mentioned networking is important, and then the whole organizational structure. Like, what is there? A CEO, a board members? How does it work?
Well, the way it works with the clusters all over Europe, it is, first of all, there is a cluster coordinator. So you decide who is going to be a cluster coordinator. So basically it could be anyone. Could be university, could be company, could be NGO. It really depends on the members. So when you decide which organization is the coordinator, then it's based on that organization. Of course, you can create the new organization to be the coordinator, but then you say it's probably the biggest challenge, the funding of that organization, who is going to be supporting, how it's going to be starting. So it's much easier to take one of the stakeholders, say, okay, you take this lead role, you're going to be the coordinator, and then you're just joining around it, and they are responsible for that. And then you get involved in different also projects, initiatives. That's how you build on your strategy, what you want to achieve with this cluster.
And in Sweden, we have 5 municipalities that are supporting our cluster. And these are also municipalities in the regions where this industry is basically operating. So, and this is, they're also supporting us both financially and with, yeah, of course, with other things. But this is very, very important to mention. And then we have the members, of course, that also support with a fee. It's not a very big fee, but still. But these 5 municipalities are very important when we talk about our cluster.
What's your take on municipalities? How active and how open-minded are they?
In our case, we don't have municipalities as members. So purely based on that, because then also, what's the strategy? What is the goal? Why they should be joining? So usually we involve different municipalities in the initiatives, but that's it. So as an associated partner, as you could say, or just partners. But of course, municipalities are very, very willingly participating.
Looking ahead, for an active organization that joins cluster, what does their position could look like in 5 years that simply wouldn't have been possible by staying outside?
Oh, I think that by joining forces now, we will be able to create maybe a center of excellence also in Sweden, that we can work with questions that involve both innovation, digitalization, sustainability, all these big questions that we can handle within our cluster owing to our organization. But the members themselves would never have been able to deal with this on their own, but to really find the main focus areas now and to create something stronger with our cluster, with academia, with the regional politicians and so forth, to create something stronger than one company. I think that we are on the way towards this, but we have to put even more effort into it. But I think that is maybe needed for the future in order to strengthen the industry in Sweden.
All right. And in the Lithuanian case, for example, establishing a cluster, joining early days versus staying outside.
When you are already coming into the community, at the ecosystem, all different types of the possibilities and initiatives will arise. So of course it depends what you want to achieve, but sometimes you even don't know what you can achieve until you are in that ecosystem.
I think so too. I mean, it's, but you have to be willing to do something on your own. You have to step inside. If you do that, you will get something back, for sure. And then if you put more effort into it, you will also get more back and get more contacts and a new context, maybe something that you'd never thought of. And I think also one very important thing is if you join a cluster, you feel that you're not alone with your challenges, because you can feel quite alone when you sit at your desk and you have today's decisions with your organization and you don't know where you're going. But just to talk to someone else, okay, they're also facing these challenges or possibilities, but I think that's also very, very important to feel I'm not alone in this. We do this together.
If you are speaking directly to someone watching this video who is considering whether to join Forest 4.0 cluster, what would you tell them, Ulrika?
Get the knowledge to see the future together with industry, academia, and to feel that you are a part of something for the future. I think that's what you want to feel when you enter. Yeah.
I would encourage stakeholders from the forestry and agriculture. We truly gonna make bigger impact together, create extra value, but I encourage even more to join from other sectors. Just think about that you can create something totally new initiative through the cross-sectorial approach, coming to the forestry, maybe you never even thought about that.
Sweet. Ulrika, why you decided to join cluster and work in the cluster?
Actually, I come from the furniture industry. I've been active within one company for more than 20 years. And when I left that, I said that I don't want to join just another company, but I would like to work for the whole industry. So, and I just started by joining for one project, and then I kept working. I've been doing that now for 5 or 6 years, and I think it's, having been in one company, it gives you a lot to see it from the other side, I understand what the issues or the challenges the companies have, but I also find it very, very interesting to work with, well, for many companies to try to make, to create value for a whole industry, and also to make them not feel like competitors, but they are colleagues in one way. Of course, they are also competitors, but if we talk about the Swedish furniture industry, we are colleagues, and we compete with the rest of the world, for example, or the EU. We are colleagues, and so to create something bigger than one company, that's something that I really I think is very interesting, and I enjoy very much.
It's important. Nice. And Kristina, you mentioned that the first cluster was established in 2011.
Yes.
How did it happen? How did you get there?
Well, it was the special initiative in Lithuania made by Economy and Innovation Ministry. I think it was called the Ūkio Ministerija at that time, if I remember correctly. And there was initiative for the clusters to be created. So nobody really knew how it should operate, what it's gonna be. So these they're like the basis to connect together and try to, produce some kind of new service or new product. So that's how it happened. So I touched a little bit of that process. Then later on, I was working with a commercial company for many years. And then I came back to this cluster and somehow rebranded it. And with the new ideas, I had very good team in the beginning. That this is very important, to have people who truly believe they can change the world or create extra value. Because if you have a team that just comes to work just for the work, so cluster will not operate correctly. Cluster needs some, I like to say, passion, some dedication. And I get a lot this question, why do you work for the non-profit? But I really like how Ulrika said, I really love to enjoy that I'm bringing something to the sector, something to the country. And I see it directly because, Ulrika is coming here and speaking in Lithuania, so we are bringing the value through the different initiatives. Other clusters come, other people come. So we are joining, forces together in order to create extra value. And this is the biggest achievement by the end of the day. It's much easier to go work for the commercial thing, but to work for some creation of new initiatives, it's a tiring job.
It is. Okay. Amazing. Thank you for the insights. And final remark that it's all about creating value. So looking forward and see you later.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.